Now, I can't be the only one that thinks it's absolutely mental that on Football Manager, I can get face paint for my manager, but I can't get him to wear a hat. There is nothing on here that can suggest that I can wear a hat. And we are living in a world where some of the most famous managers of all time, Jurgen Klopp, Tony Pulis, Thomas Tuchel, are always wearing hats. I don't see anyone wearing face paint. Now, with Football Manager 26 hopefully on the horizon, we haven't heard anything yet, but we'd like to think after the last post we heard from Sports Interactive that they are working on a new game. We get to see something new, something exciting, something that's gonna, re-energize us all in terms of Football Manager. But this is a kind of a video of my little wish list. Some things that I would love to see that are different on Football Manager. And no, don't worry, I'm not just going to bark on about going on holiday and change that to simulating. It might come up. It will definitely come up. But there's other things that I think that as a whole community can really benefit from or enjoy nonetheless. And we're actually going to start off with on this starting screen. Now, there's a few things that in Football Manager you can do, but I really don't think there's a lot that you can do with anybody else or a lot of interactive stuff. And I really feel like Football Manager miss out on just something really fundamental that the likes of FIFA kind of gets right, whatever it's called now. I haven't played it for years, but whatever it's called now, they always get right. The PvP scene is one, and the other is weekly updates. Now, the PvP scene in Football Manager recently has a nice little bit of a push thanks to the Zealand League, which I very much enjoyed being part of. But of course, the old Streamer Showdown stuff, that was big back in the day. And of course, we've seen the FIFA E-World Cup last year, which really shone a bright light on Football Manager in terms of a PvP scene. However, the PvP scene actually on Football Manager is really hard to make interesting. And it's very hard to sort of, just keep it intriguing and not just, it can be amazing. But the thing is that we've got right now is this join online game. You can't really do much about it. You can do a draft, I guess, which is kind of nice. And we've seen it push to its limits in the league where we had 20 people joining, and it did actually go a lot better than what I thought it would with that many people. But you also seen the biggest flaws in PvP Football Manager. How long did it take in between each game? Because you have to wait for every single person to press a button about 4 times to go to the next game, and it was just so frustrating. In a 4-hour stream, we get through about 8 games. That's not good enough. We need something which obviously, again, I don't want to use re-energize, but re-energize PvP for Football Manager. It could be the biggest thing on a Football Manager game if the PvP sort of way of playing the game is amazing. We've seen it in the past with the Streamer Showdown, with other drafts, but they all had to create their own database to do so. I know that obviously draft mode is kind of gone out of the game, and they've spoken about getting rid of online modes completely. I really hope that's not the case, because I think we've seen from just the PvP scene in Football Manager, there's a lot of fun. In Indonesia, it's massive. There's a couple of tournaments that they do, which I've been invited to, and I'd love to take part someday, where in Indonesia, they have a huge player versus player scene using Football Manager, and it's fantastic to see, and it brings the community together, and it makes the game more interesting again, because if you're bored about playing the AI and you join up a PvP Football Manager sort of competition, save, whatever, things are very different. It is very different, and I was trying to explain it to my dad when we were doing the league, how different it can be, and I think he's sort of seen for himself. Like, the casual way of playing Football Manager kind of goes out the window. It's very competitive. You care a lot more. I really think that's some part of the game which I would love to see looked at properly. Of course, there are other things that we need to prioritize. And don't get me wrong. I understand that a lot of you right now are going to be going, no, let's fix the things that are broken right now before we go adding new stuff in. I get that. But this is my wish list. You can let me know what you want down in the comment section. That's what that's there for. Just be nice. Don't be knobs about it. Okay, the next one is something that I genuinely think could be massive if Football Manager decided to do this and got it right. Because I really think when I look into other communities in terms of not just content, but actually all the community itself of playing different games, such as EAFC, there is very much an online thing of when I think it's the Fridays when they have like updates and stuff where certain SBCs gets dropped and stuff like that. What's the Football Manager equivalent to that? Because it keeps players coming back every single week to play the game. There's hype about it. There's people going online and refreshing just to find out exactly what it is. And Football Manager doesn't have that. But it certainly could have the capabilities of doing so on this page right here. This page is probably the page that you see the least on Football Manager. You open the game up and then bang, you load it into your game. You'll never see it again. And it's kind of just a bit pointless. Whereas there is some things down here where you can sign up to stuff and it does take you to online websites. So there is options of, obviously, if you're connected to the internet, of having things here which are different. What about if you had like weekly challenges? Now, hear me out. This is something that I've cooked up recently, speaking to a couple of other creators, and we thought that would be a genuinely really good idea. Imagine, say we're going down the Friday route like EAFC do. Every Friday at 6 p.m. UK time, bang, another challenge would appear down here. Big button which would obviously advertise whatever it would be. You could have challenges such as, of course, halfway through the season, say you got to December, the challenge is you click that button, it will automatically make you the manager of the 20th place in the Premier League, and at that point in real life, which means from then, you got to play the game. Obviously, you could obviously go back to it once you've had a save game of it, but you could then play and try and save that team. You've taken over that team on the 1st of December. Say it just, and Matt, just run with me here. It's the 1st of December. You took over that team, whoever it would be next season, whether it's, I don't know, Leeds or the other two promoted teams, which is more than likely going to have at Sunderland. I don't know. Whoever it is, Burnley. Whoever it is, you become manager of that team at that point with the points exactly the same as what it is in real life. Now, it obviously would take a team to obviously create these, but the interactiveness of being able to come back and do this every single week would really keep the game alive throughout the whole year. Not that I don't think people don't play the game the whole year, because I really feel like as a community Football Manager, players are very good at creating their own stories. As you've seen with like not only just YouTubers, but people who love to share their saves and they tell you what they're doing in their saves. And I was exactly the same before I made content. I go, all right, I'm going to do a Pentagon challenge, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And I think people are very good at that, much more than what maybe communities are in other games. But imagine if that had an option. Imagine if there was another option where all of a sudden it would load you through and you are Leicester City in that 2016 season where they went on to win the Premier League. Could you do exactly the same where they put you in January and you go, oh, you got 6 months left. You got 6 months left to hold on to this and win the Premier League. Or another good one, which I thought of the other day, which would be so good if they had no ideas, to just pick a random club and they go, all right. So, for instance, Morecambe right now, they look like they could be in trouble. What if on the game, to support Morecambe, they did something where on a weekly challenge, Morecambe had a tycoon takeover, and it would raise awareness for the club. They don't have to put any money into it. It's just coming up right now. These are the things that are happening at Morecambe FC, but we're doing a weekly challenge where for this, you click this button and it would take you to start a new game where Morecambe have just had a tycoon takeover down in the Vanarama National League. So things like that, different scenarios, different stuff like that, I think would be so much fun. And everybody would be very excited every single week, whenever it would drop, the Friday, the 6 p.m., whatever it is, to find out what it actually is. And it might keep people coming back. It might keep people being interested in playing the game. You might end up taking on one of the challenges and find that you just want to carry on with that save, and the game allows you to do that. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? It could lead to leaderboards online. It could lead to everything, different points, which unlocks other stuff. I don't know. But I think the capabilities of that are sort of endless. The scenarios that you could produce on Football Manager using the database, I think, are endless as well. And I know Football Manager has licenses, which they always try and stay away from if they don't have it. But if they're on the game already, why can't they be used, even if they don't necessarily have a license for that club? I would love to see something like that. All right, now looking a little bit more into the game. Changes that I would love to see. Now, I've very much expressed my opinions on the whole going on holiday / simulating side of the game. I know a lot of you are in support of what I suggest. A lot of you are completely against the way I play the game, and that's fine. Just don't be a knob about it. Anybody can play the game exactly how they want to. It's a game which you literally play one player. If it's online, I understand, but it's not. So you can play the game however you want, and you're never going to be wrong. That's the main thing. So this whole go on a holiday situation, you all know my thoughts. I'd love for that to be changed to Simulate 2. So you can simulate to the end of the season. Simulate to your next game, just to make sure that you just hurry the game up. I mean, look at all of this news. How much of this email do you really look at? And be honest. I reckon out of all of those 10... What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, there's 10 emails on the screen, okay? You can just see all of those 10 emails. Give me an honest answer right now in the comments. Out of those 10, which one of those emails, or how many of those emails, do you really take notice of? Because I would hazard a guess, 1, possibly 2. Me would probably be the training, because I'd praise the guy for how well he's doing at training. Sometimes I would look at this, possibly. Opposition report, not a lot. Not since I've been playing the game as much as what I have now. And then maybe you're looking at the team selection? I don't know. Anybody else really reading your under-20s fixtures clash? I don't think you are. I don't think you really pay much attention to that. So when you depress the simulate thing, it will get rid of all of these emails so you don't have to see them all the time and click through them and constantly pressing your spacebar, constantly smashing the continue button. Simulate to your next game. Speed things up. I understand people want to play every single game, but let's make it. I know you can already holiday to the next game. Just in case you didn't know you could do that, you can holiday to your next match unless you are on the same day of that match. Which even then sometimes is really annoying because you can still be look how long it takes me to click through before I actually have to play this game, by the way. And this is ridiculous. I've got quite a good PC. There's another 4 emails. Probably don't care about any of them. Now we're finally at that one. All right. What a waste of time. What a complete waste of time. And I was doing it as fast as I possibly could. So to get through the game, it does take people a long time. And sometimes people don't have the time anymore with families, work, other commitments. Just changing these little things which make a little bit of, like, I don't know, the way of life a little bit more easier, I think. Change that to Simulate 2. And, of course, give you the statistics, which I hate the fact that... You could look at this. You can see a holiday on... There were 10 seasons in. A holiday, I'd never played a game, apparently, according to this. But I've set up the tactic. I've done all the transfers, etc. All right, maybe it's a director of football mode that I'm looking for, but I do enjoy all the other bits of management. I understand that some people don't like that it is like this, but that's absolutely fine. But there's another thing, part of this, that I think would make it a lot more appealing to people if the squad planner had this one tool. Now, I'll be honest, I reckon I look at the squad planner once a month, really, and that's like real life months, not during the game months. Like, I barely look at it. Really don't look at it. To me, it's the most pointless thing ever. I ask Assistant if I ever do anything and go suggest everything, and then I just look at who he actually prioritizes as number 1. And what's hilarious is you can change the order. So you can see here, all right, I've got this Rodrigo Batista as a striker. He is my best striker, but say for some whatever reason, I want to play Kenan Yildiz as my number 1 striker. Bang. Okay. What does that actually do? What does it do? It doesn't actually do anything. Like, when you're going to select your squad, it doesn't then come up with Kenan Yildiz as the number 1. So it doesn't change that. It doesn't change when you ask your assistant to pick the best 11. It doesn't then put Kenan Yildiz above Batista in a selection if you were to only have one striker, for instance. It will probably still press Batista and Kenan Yildiz goes down there. So what's the purpose of it? Just to look at instead of writing it down in real life? Why don't actually have this have a function? And the function is, right, from now on, anytime Kenan Yildiz is fit, and that's the other thing, because if they got an injury, an orange injury, the assistant manager still plays them if you then go on and press go on holiday with use current team selections when possible. They select them even if they got an orange injury, only when it's like fully fit player and they don't need a rest. Anytime I ask my assistant or I go on holiday / simulate, it puts Keenan Yildiz in the striker position, actually having a purpose for the squad planner. So you could go through and go, okay, so from a right midfield, I'd rather have João Pedro on there. I'm doing this just like randomly, but I'd rather have João Pedro there instead. And my centre midfielders, you know, I like that order actually. Let's keep that order. That's fine. But then I want to change him and I want to put him there. He would be the biggest priority there. What is the purpose of the squad planner? Because you could make it something a lot more worthwhile than what it actually is. Because at the minute, who actually uses it? Honestly, they made such a big deal out of it when it came out. I really wish it had more purpose and more functionality, but it doesn't really. It's just to look at. It doesn't really change anything. I'll be honest, after a month of the game came out when this was on it might have been FM23, I don't think I really took much notice of it at all after that. And it's such a shame because it could have so many good functions and it just doesn't. Okay, now the next one I've mentioned a few times. Some of you really agreed with it. Some of you came up with other ideas of why it could be good, sometimes why it could be bad, and some of you just outright hated the idea. But Football Manager is played at one mode. And what I mean by that is every game you load through, the AI will act exactly the same. Obviously, it might do different things depending on what happens, but it will act exactly the same. Now, I think, and I've seen it in other games, for instance, other sports games, NBA, for example, and even EAFC and other games like that. The WWE 2K games have it as well with the GM mode, which I used to play quite a lot. Some of you might have even come across from that. Tendencies and tendency sliders, because on the advanced mode here you can change a lot about what the game looks like, for example, or what actually happens, you know, in terms of what you're looking at, the interface, colors, etc. It doesn't change anything about what actually happens on the game itself. So the preferences or the settings never changes what the AI will ever do. What if we had tendency sliders? What if we had tendency sliders where it was like you could up it to make transfers more realistic, so clubs are looking for positions which they don't have in? Because I guarantee, we are 10 seasons in now, you could go to any club in the world and if you took over as manager, you'll go, why is there like 4 left backs and only 1 striker? That happens quite a lot. I'm sure you've all joined a game and took over as a club and gone, that's a bit strange. Why has that happened? And you can literally go through sometimes all the different clubs and you'll see that happen where certain clubs will sign 4 centre midfielders, 1 transfer window, even though they haven't got a centre back, and they never actually sign a centre back. So you could make the transfers more realistic. You could make it less realistic and have loads of crazy things going on. Or the transfer budgets, you could up, you know, money coming in so that most clubs have a lot of money. Because again, 10 seasons in, what you tend to find is a lot of the clubs in the Premier League are all bankrupt. And across Europe, they're all bankrupt. Not a lot of clubs have money because for some reason, the AI is just not very good at using it. Scouting, there's so many players who will then just drop off a cliff, even though they've got high potential, they never reach it. You could have a slider tendency, which says that, you know, a lot of the youngsters coming through have high professionalism. They will reach their maximum professionalism or maximum potential, sorry. So you have the ability to change the likes of players coming through. There's so many things that you could do with the tendencies. I'm not the best at sort of expressing this one because, to be honest, I'm not the smartest. Not the smartest in terms of how the game would obviously react to these types of things. There's some people who I've seen in the past explain the reasons why that could be a bad thing, but I never see a big enough negative to go, I wouldn't want to see it in the game. Because I like more randomness. I like the fact that sometimes I can log on to I can start a new save and something different will happen. It just happens very rarely. And I think that's a problem within Football Manager. I guarantee Erling Haaland is still at Manchester City. I don't really know. There he is, Man City. Have you ever seen him leave? Because I haven't. For 10 years, I've never seen him leave. I think there's maybe somebody shown me once where Erling Haaland actually left the club and it's because they were manager at some point. Like, randomness is so much fun in a game because then every time you start it, it feels new. Whereas a lot of the time, if you're playing in the same league, the game will just feel exactly the same. And that's why, obviously, now we're like 2 years into a game cycle. The fact that people are still doing data updates, those guys are lifesavers, by the way, because, yeah, how bad's that been if we were still playing from the winter update a year and a half ago? So thank God that those guys exist to make it feel slightly different. We've got certain players coming through. I think, like on this downloaded one, Max Downham's normally really good. And I know in real life, he is really good too. Where is he gone? He's probably not there now. I probably can't find him. Hilarious, to be honest. But yeah, there's like Max Downham. There's other players. Chido Obi Martin, I know he's on the game as well. Whereas in the actual game, he's not there. But Chido Obi... Why can't I find any of these players? I know they're in the game. Where are they? There he is. He was literally at the top. But that's not his face either. It's a different face pack. But yeah, he's in the game. And sometimes he is amazing. Sometimes he's absolute crap. As you can see here, Man United never used him. So he never really turned out to be anything. But I'd love to change the randomness in games with tendency sliders. Tendency sliders could make the game easier for people who are new to the game, could make the game harder for us people who have played a lot of the game and we want a challenge. That could be fun, but it would just add a little bit of randomness and a little bit of difference that I think Football Manager sometimes really needs. So those are 5 things that I wish Football Manager could include on the next version of Football Manager, whenever that would be. What would be your 5 or your specific one? Do you like some of my suggestions? Do you absolutely hate them? I don't know. Sometimes I feel like sometimes you always hate my suggestions, but I'm intrigued. Just don't be a knob about it and tell me why it's a bad idea, and I will probably just, accept your opinion. If you're a knob, and I will probably just block you from the channel. Either way, I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want to see more Football Manager stuff, we've got loads coming. You haven't subscribed yet. Somehow this is the first video you've come across me. Hopefully I didn't come across as such a knob that you're like, well, I'm never going to watch that guy again. I really hope that that's not the case, and you go, actually, that really good looking guy with a hat, even though you can't wear hats on Football Manager as a manager, but I want to follow that guy, then I'm going to subscribe to him. And I hope that's the case, because if we ever do get a Football Manager 26, then I want to play it, and I want to showcase it to you guys. So thank you very much for watching. Please let me know your suggestions down in the comments, and check out this video, because I invited 2 of my friends on to come up against me and Dad, and we went back to the 80s to do a 4-way rebuild.